We had a great call, and it lasted for a long time, over an hour. I think I can say with great confidence he wants to see it ended also. We ultimately expect to meet. In fact, we expect that he'll come here, and I'll go there, and we're going to meet also probably in Saudi Arabia.
The dealmaker is putting his skills to the test. President Trump sounding off on a phone call he had with Russian President Vladimir Putin and start negotiations immediately to end the war in Ukraine. And that comes as a second American is heading home. Amongst 3 detainees released from Belarus, the identity of the hostage has not been released, and we'll bring that to you when we get it. And it's less than 24 hours after Trump's team secured the release of Marc Fogel. This was an amazing scene. He was an American teacher detained in Russia since 2021. And in an emotional moment, Fogel literally kissing the U.S. soil upon his return to the good old USA. Jesse, he was not returned, even though 6 months before Brittany Griner, he took medical marijuana into the country. That was not allowed, and the Russians were looking for someone to go after on this. They knew he was going to be on the plane. They knew he was likely going to have this medical marijuana because he had taught at this school for a long time. That was 6 months before Brittany Griner. When she came home, the administration, as we went and looked back, were like, oh, yeah, sorry, we don't have any more details on that. Refer you to the State Department.
Yeah, so they both had grass, and she came home and he didn't, and everybody knows why. And Biden thought that would help him politically, and it didn't at all. And so Trump is, despite what people say about him, a true humanitarian. He places such a priority on human life. You got the Gaza hostages, you got the Russian hostages, you got the Venezuelan hostages, almost immediately. Mm-hmm. And remember what we did with Otto Warmberg. It's also the Maha movement. It's also fighting fentanyl. All of these things are about cherishing and saving human lives. And he doesn't get a lot of credit for that. And he's not going to get enough credit for ending the Ukraine war. And he's not going to get enough credit for hopefully resolving things in the Middle East. But if you look back on both terms at the end of the second one, he will be probably viewed as one of the more humanitarian-minded presidents we've had.
One of the things, Judge, that was really lovely about this story is that Fogel's mother, she's in her 90s, mid-90s, met with President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, just minutes before President Trump was shot. Right. And in that meeting, she said, if you win, will you bring my son home? And he said, yes, I will. And so she's in her mid-90s, and, you know, time is of the essence, and they were finally able to be reunited.
You know, she said he promised, or her daughter said, I believe it was on Fox today, President Trump promised my mother that he would bring my brother back. And, you know, and I was listening to that, and I was saying, well, that's who President Trump is. You know, he is, as you said, Jesse, a humanitarian. He is caring. But this whole thing, Dana, is infuriating to me because I say to myself, 21 days this man is president. We've got 6 prisoners from Venezuela. We've got countries taking back prisoners that Biden said, oh, they won't take them back. I don't know what to do. And we've got, you know, the war is going to end in Ukraine and Russia. I mean, now, you know, Putin is throwing in these prisoners. And by the way, the exchange for Marc Fogel, you know, was a crypto hacker. The exchange for Brittany Griner was an arms dealer, terrorist-related charges. Yeah, and, you know, the whole thing is just so bizarre. But it's infuriating that Joe Biden didn't even do wellness checks on American prisoners and hostages. And Donald Trump comes in 21 days, and he's killing it because he cares. And when you think about it, that's why Joe Biden got elected. Everyone said he was the compassionate guy. He didn't give a damn. He didn't put any effort into it. And now we're seeing what a real president and a real caring man will do.
What do you think about the comparison then, Harold? Because it is impossible to look at this and say, President Trump's been in office for not quite 4 weeks, and all of these things have happened, especially the things that matter the most, right? Our people are being held wrongfully, and we should get them back. And this is pretty remarkable.
It is. Anytime an American comes home from being held hostage in a communist nation, or for that matter, any hostile territory, I just celebrate it. And I think even looking at the equivalency of who might have been traded for whom, I mean, I'm glad he's home. I would remind you that the crypto hacker was a money launderer too. But I'm not complaining. I'm glad this guy's home. I share your view. I don't know why he didn't get home sooner. Was there politics involved, Jesse? Or may have been. But I'm one that just sits back and says, whenever an American comes home, congratulations. Mr. Fogel also gave a lot of credit to Steve Witkoff, who apparently I knew a little about before but I learned about him publicly here, knew a little bit about his business ventures. This guy's become a pretty good diplomat and reminds me in many ways of someone I hold in high regard, the late Bill Richardson, who I served with in Congress, who was able to get hostages released. But to listen to Mr. Fogel last night, praise the president and Mr. Witkoff. I give them both congratulations on getting Mr. Fogel home.
The Biden team also left Ridge Alcanis in a prison in Japan for months after, even when that's our greatest ally, as the young man from the State Department liked to remind me, and I will never forget that phone call, ever. I was like, yeah, I know that. That's why I'm saying President Trump is getting these guys back from our adversaries, but Biden wasn't even able to get them back from our allies.
Well, he's not a non-binary woman of color. Don't you know any better, Dana? By the way, to piggyback on what the judge said, it seems so easy. And a lot of these things seem way easier than we were told. It's like when you compare the Biden administration to the Trump administration, it's like when I leave work and I'm pushing the door to leave and I can't get out, and then the security guy goes, yeah, just have to pull it open. And it feels like that. All Trump's doing is, oh, you just have to pull the door open. Joe, you've been pushing the door, pull it open. I think the Legacy News needs help with this story. Go on CNN's homepage, go on MSNBC's homepage. This story isn't anywhere. There was a great story on a book called I Hate Myself with Joe Scarborough holding it up, which is amazing. But anyway, they need to figure out how to spin Trump freeing another hostage from Russia as a threat to democracy. So this is for Joy Reid. I think she'll do this. Isn't it interesting that this happens within hours of Tulsi Gabbard getting confirmed? Quid pro quo, which is Latin for calamari, I think. Doesn't it make sense? I mean, Tulsi's in, and Marc Fogel is out, and he's white. Talk about white prisoner privilege. What do you say?
It's good.
I think that I could probably take over MSNBC. But I don't want to because I've got a lot of work here.
Yeah, don't leave.
Yeah.
Don't pull that door or push it.